Hello, my name is Ramon and I have a problem. And it has to do with these printers. And the problem starts here on the back of my H2C printer. If the H2C printer is running and I enter the room, I instantly get a significant itch or scratchy feeling in the back of my throat. It just doesn't feel healthy, so I want to resolve that as quickly as possible. Before every print, I open a window, sometimes even both windows, to allow ventilation into the room. But now in the summer, when it's hot or humid outside, or there's just no wind, I notice less airflow and ventilation. I still don't know if this is the final position for the printers, so I want a quick and localized solution that fixes most of the issue, until I can fix it permanently. The issue is also more apparent when the H2C is printing, in opposed to when I only had P1S. And this could be due to a lot of factors, better cooling with the H2C, different airflow, and so on. I don't know. All that doesn't really matter, and it doesn't change the issue at hand. When you search MakerWorld, there are a lot of solutions out there. Active carbon filters, HEPA filters, internal filters, active fan filters, filters that you screw onto the case or into the case, and even exhaust solutions to a more permanent air extraction unit. Yet they all didn't quite match up for the criteria that I was looking for. I wanted to be easily replaceable, affordable, easy to install, and minimal effort. So I designed my own, and the base of my idea was a car interior air filter. They are affordable, readily available, it has activated carbon and good airflow, and I try to apply the KISS principle as much as possible, keep it simple sometimes, because I do forget this occasionally as well. So with a readily available filter, all I had to do was design something to attach it to the printer. And the cleanest and easiest way to do that is, of course, with magnets. It's clean, easy to install, no tools needed, and almost everything is better with magnets. I found this Filtron K1321A active carbon filter on Amazon and paid less than €9 for it. Now, because these vents on the back of the H2C open up, we need a little bit of spacing there. I measured everything and it should be about a centimeter to make sure they have enough room to open up and blow the air out. So I keep that in mind in my design as well. I did a quick little test with some gaffer tape, spare part, spacers, and the filter. The difference walking into the room while printing was amazing and a huge improvement already. Until the tape falls off because of the hot air that continuously blasting it. You might be wondering why my filter also covers the perforated back piece. Well, the printer blows hot air out like 2 centimeters above it already, and if I kept a piece of cardboard between the two parts when I was printing, I felt hot air coming out of this area as well. So in my train of thought, the much faster air might pull out more of the hot air or provide it with more airflow. Either way, I haven't had any errors or issues yet. If there are any, I'll let you know. With a proof of concept tested as well, it's time to head over to the computer to whip up something in Blender. Alright, so I've spent about an hour and a half in Blender and I think I have something that I can work with. So I haven't printed, haven't tested anything. This is the first concept and let me show you all the features I got so far. So this is the main design. This is the filter I created a mock-up of. It's dimensionally accurate, so I took the dimensions, just measured them and recreated it in Blender. And when we remove this filter, we have a casing that fits the filter quite snug, because I don't want any air to get in between the filter and the casing. It will escape and it will lose the efficiency of filtering the air. So I made some guides as well, and these are just for ease of use and just some clarity. So I got some directional arrows in which the air has to travel through, and how to remove the top lid part. I also have the magnets in here that should hold the casing to the printer. Let's see. So these will slide in and out. You should be able to place those after the parts are completed. These small slots where they fit into. And you have a tiny notch that should keep them in place as well. And all these markers are booleaned out, so they are just embossed into the design. And for the lid, let me show the filter again. And the lid is removable to replace the filter as well. So everything should slide in from the top. So lid and filter. And I kept this part connected so that you don't get this wobbly U shape. So it's a lot more rigid now, and it has some sturdiness to it. And that's it for this design. So let's get to BambuStudio and send everything to the printer. BambuStudio, I just imported the files. I made two separate STL files, one for the lid and one for the frame. And then I just looked for the correct positions on the print bed. And I designed everything so that no supports would be needed. If I can do that, I'd like to do that. It's just something to keep in mind while designing your 3D parts. But I'm always sort of happy, or I just like, it feels like some sort of achievement if you can get the 3D print file without any supports. I don't know why that is. Let me know if that's normal or not, but I like to do that. And after fixing the orientation, I noticed one thing with the little notches on the lid. I didn't make those smaller, so they had the sort of exact measurements of the sockets that they have to go into. And with 3D printers and filament can swell up a little bit, or it can shrink a little bit. There's a little bit of play in it, so I want to make them just a little bit slimmer so that they have a nice fitment. They don't have to be pressure or friction fitted, or they don't have to snap in place, because it's just a lid that sits on top, and it only has to prevent the air from moving out on the top or over the filter. I set the supports for this one to 5% gyroid infill. That's more than enough. It's plenty. It doesn't have to be rigid or strong. It just has to keep a very light filter in place. And the more weight we add to it, the more the magnets have to hold up to the printer. Also, when the printer is moving, it's all that extra weight that's trying to pull it off of the printer. So trying to keep it as light as possible and save some filament as well. So 5% gyroid infill, no supports, 2 walls, and that's it. And when everything was fine, I sent everything over to the printer. So as you can probably tell by this scene, I made a slight mistake. So I saw this happening already when looking at the BambuStudio footage, when it started on the last layers, that there were some issues with this print. And I didn't have supports enabled, but I forgot to bevel this top edge to 45 degrees so it would print nicely and grab the filter as well. But through some bamboo magic it did print all the other layers, so I think this will be still usable, fortunately. So let's grab everything from the printer and see if it all fits together as intended. This is looking very nice, and I'm just going to rip these off. Now let's see if the top fits. That fits very nicely, so I'm happy with that. Most importantly, let's see if the filter fits. The filter also has this arrow airflow, so I'm going to keep that in mind. We have it on the side here as well, so they line up. And I'm really happy with how this fits and looks already. So the final thing, let's grab some magnets. And we do want to know the orientation of these. Nothing metal. Okay. A bit too tight of a fit. Maybe a bit too snug, but at least they won't come out. And that should be it. Okay. I'm really happy with this for a first fit and look as well. Now, let's see if it fits on the backside of the H2C. So this one has to go. And this one, as you can see, the height is perfect to get both of these vents or whatever they are. And we need more magnets. This was one thing that I was afraid of, because I left a 1 millimeter gap where the magnet sits, and I just hoped, because of one magnet can almost move the whole printer, so that would be ideal, but they're just not strong enough with this much space in between it. Let's see if we remove the filter. No, still not. It should be about 100 grams. So I'm going to reprint, and I'll add 2 more magnets. and then we're going to try again. I can maybe test that out. If I place 2 magnets below it, that should hold it up then, theoretically, I think. Yeah, that works. Okay, so 4 magnets will do the trick. And let's see. I could leave it like this, but I think that vibrations will eventually move everything down more. And the vent is up here. So I'm going to try to open it. I'm going to place this edge straight against the gray edge. And that should cover both vents. Now, let's see if we can open up that filter port. I don't see anything at all. Let's see if we can do this. Oh, I have to enable the exhaust. Okay. And now we can see if this fits. Yeah, there's no issues there. So that's fine. I just have to add more magnets. Okay. So back to Blender, making some minor tweaks to the magnets and adding magnet slots and beveling the edges, exporting, reloading the files into BambuStudio and printing version 2. This all took about 15 minutes and the printer was running again. And with the version 1 MacGyvered into place, it was a night and day difference when I checked on the print. I didn't feel any discomforts in the back of my throat at all, and there weren't any PLA smells either. So it's looking good already. This second version came out perfect, no more spaghetti or forgotten bevels, just a nice clean print. So I couldn't be more happy with it. And all that's left to do is to assemble. They are just snug enough, but they slide in much more easily now. And they still have that snap that you have to push them past with the tabs on the inside, clamping them in place. So I'm really happy with that fitment. Okay, let's place the filter. Airflow direction to the outside, and it's the same. Even though the edge is beveled a little bit, it still fits nicely. And this is the same cap, I didn't reprint that one. It fits nicely as well. Now, let's throw it on the back of the printer and see if it holds. Alright, line it up with this edge. Yeah, that's a lot better can still move it around, but it holds its own weight and it needs some force to be removed. Trying to line it up on top here. Bottom looks fine. Okay, it's still moving around a little bit, so it might even benefit from more magnets, but I'm going to see how this works out. At least I know that my air quality will be a lot better, which was the goal for this video. So after giving it some more thought, I just cannot provide this as a download for you at this stage. It's too janky with the magnets and I just wasn't confident that 2 more magnets would fix the issue. Knowing that 1 magnet could move the printer, that's why I started. The initial design was just 2 magnets. So something about my design disrupts this. And towards anyone who wants to print this, I don't think it's fair that this quick lesson in magnetic force drop-off for me should affect the final quality or end up in you buying more magnets than needed. So I created a new version with less filaments between the printer and the magnet when mounted. So I went from the initial 0.8 millimeters, which is 4 layers of PLA, to 0.4 millimeters, which is 2 layers of PLA. Strength-wise, I don't expect any issues, also hoping that with the setup, 6 magnets would suffice now. I created a proper test print for the magnets functionality this time that only prints the magnet slots and a ledge on which I could place some weight. Then I weighed the completed version that I had with the 6 magnets and the filter. I weighed what would be a good test weight as well. And this ended up being the prototype part, a plier, and the filter itself. This went over and added about 25% extra to the total weight of the completed filter set that I had already, which is a nice buffer for printer wobble and some material and friction differences if other people print this as well. I started with adding 4 magnets to the new prototype. 4 did the trick, but for me that wasn't enough, unfortunately. So I added 2 more magnets and 6 definitely did what I was looking for. It held it up nicely with the extra weight as well. So as you can see, 0.2 millimeters can make a huge difference. I know that some people might be happy to hear that. This is also quite a tough situation, magnetizing 2 smooth surfaces together. It only holds because of the clamping force from the magnets. There's no real friction preventing these surfaces from sliding. I know that adding a thin rubber or tape surface can increase the friction a lot. At this point, I don't want to add more material between the magnets and the metal, but this would have been my plan B if it wouldn't work out. It is done. A quick little project to hopefully protect my lungs and my health. This is not a proper final solution, I understand that, but at least it will help somewhat with opening the windows and yeah, keeping some PLA or other fumes out of my body. Insulation and the walls are a bit of a thing here if you want to drill outside, because we have proper stone walls with 2 layers of brick, 10 centimeters of insulation, and if you want to drill outside you need a proper drill. So yeah, you really have to think, do I want to do this? And I don't know if the printers will remain in this room, in this position, so I'm not ready for that yet. But at least I can feel a little bit better now, because I know these things work. These are car air filters, and I already noticed the difference when printing this V2 version when I just walked in the room when printing. And also the H2C had this a lot more than the P1S. I didn't experience it at all, if I can remember, but also for the last couple of projects I've been printing way more, so that's not a real benchmark to go by. So let me know what you think, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more of my future content. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.